Here in our climate in Ireland, the nettle is so abundant and it grows literally everywhere. But if you have a patch of ground close to your home and you know that the area has not been sprayed in any way, you can use the nettle in a variety of ways, and it's going to be so medicinal and beneficial to your health, especially at this time of year in springtime. So what you're looking for when you're going to forage nettle, you're looking for about the first 4 leaves on the plant or the first 10 or 12 centimeters of the plant. So the nettle itself, it's very high in minerals and vitamins, especially in vitamin C. It's also very good for anemia because it's rich in iron, and the type of iron that's in the nettle is very bioavailable to the body, so to absorb and be utilized by the body so easily. Again, it's coming from nature, there's nothing added here. So when you work with nature, nature will work with you. I'm very, very fond of the nettle. It's one of my first memories that I have in terms of herbal medicine. Grandmother, beautiful grandmother that lived with us up until I was 12 years of age. She obviously suffered from some form of arthritis or rheumatoid arthritis, and I have a memory of her on several occasions. She would go outside into the field and she would take a bunch of nettles and she would repeatedly whip the nettles off of her joints. And having researched and read and learned about the nettle, this was an old practice that was used by many people to relieve the pain of arthritis. So if you whip the joints with the nettle, it would form a skin rash, and that skin rash would deflect away from the pain that you were feeling in the joints themselves. It would stimulate circulation within the body, and again that would help to relieve the pain of the arthritis and to just give the body support as needed. So it's a link to her and a link to the past, and it just brings back so many memories to hold it, to touch it, to smell it, and especially when you make the herbal tea, it's just all of those aromas are released from the nettle into the water, and it's just so healing and so earthy and beautiful. When you're making your herbal tea, you can have anywhere from 1 to 3 cups per day. You can make herbal tea with fresh nettle, so just take a few stalks, bring them inside, give them a quick rinse if you think they need it, and put them into a pot with a lid on it or some form of cover over the top. Boil your water, pour the water onto the nettle, and then cover the top so that the medicinal value and the essential oils in the nettle, they don't evaporate off the top but remain within the infusion itself. And if you drink, especially at this time of year, a cup of tea or up to 3 cups per day, that's going to do wonders for your immune system and your overall health. So it will work to cleanse the blood, and it will work to build the blood. And you can use the nettle up until the end of May, and after that it becomes just a little bit too strong. So it's not advised to use the nettle after May. So your springtime nettle is what you're after. And if you have an area that you have access to on a regular basis, you can cut back the nettle and you can use the fresh growth that keeps coming throughout the year, or up until late autumn at least anyway. But make sure that it's fresh, tender leaves that you're getting. See when I'm cutting them there's little webs or cobwebs, so you might want to give them just a quick rinse when you bring them inside. And for me, I'm sure they're found in many countries with a climate like Ireland, but I find them such an Irish herb. I associate them very much with Ireland. So nettle can be used to treat gout, to treat asthma, to treat eczema, to treat inflammation in the body, for those suffering from anemia, as mentioned. If you have any type of arthritic pain, or rheumatoid arthritis. Nettles it's rich in chlorophyll, so again really high in sunlight energy, and that's what we want going into the body. That's what will bring light in and healing energy to heal all sorts of ailments that we might suffer from. So it's a great spring tonic. Now, if you're very brave, you can also take the nettle leaf. Your hands, if you hold it really tightly, it shouldn't sting. So really tightly. There's little hairs on the back of the nettle, and it's those little hairs or cilia that will cause the sting. So you just roll it up really, really small and tightly. Really, really tightly in your hand, and you can eat the fresh nettle. Now it's actually quite sweet. Really nice, really nice. So again, no fear. Communicate with the plant, talk to your plant, tell it why you're removing it. You're looking for the healing benefits. Be respectful of the plant. When you're out foraging and you're gathering up plants or herbs, always leave about a third of them in the area that you're taking from so that they can replenish themselves. Thank the plant. And there you have it, fresh nettle, beautiful. I have rinsed the nettles in water, cold water and vinegar, and left them for about a minute or two, and then I've left them out on the sideboard for about, I'd say, half an hour, just to let anything that's living in them crawl out and escape. I lay the nettles out on dehydrator sheets, so I have 6 trays of nettle to go into the dehydrator, and I'm going to leave them anywhere from 4 hours to overnight, but 4 to 6 hours would typically dry them off. Once the nettle has dried in the dehydrator, I simply just crush the dried nettle into an airtight container using my hand. I don't remove it from the stalk, I leave the stalk and all, because I'm not eating this, I'm just simply putting it into hot water and extracting the medicinal value from it. And you'll find quite quickly it just disintegrates in your hand, it'll break up really easily. I can use a little tamper from the Vitamix, and that will crush it down further. And after 6 trays of nettle in the dehydrator, I have produced half a container, and that's a sizable container, half a container of now crushed nettle, which I will use for the duration of the year in my tea. And I hope in the next few weeks that I'll be able to go out and actually add to this. I check on this airtight container regular, and if you notice at any stage that when you put your hand in it just doesn't feel right, or you might feel that a little bit of moisture has gotten into your leaves, simply spread them out on the trays and pop them into the dehydrator for a few hours, and that will bring back that crisp crunch, ensuring that there's no moisture in your container, and they should stay fresh for months on end. So I hope you feel inspired to give it a go, and I hope you enjoy a cup or 2 or even more of nettle tea this spring, and it will put you in a really good place at the start of the year in terms of your health. So cleansing the blood, building the blood, and bringing sunlight energy into the body so that it can heal, repair and restore as we move into the summer months. If you enjoy the content, please do click like or subscribe, and this allows the content to reach a wider audience, shows interaction with the channel, and hopefully over time it will expand and grow. As always, thank you very much for tuning in.